Good morning, beautiful people. Marie Alessi here with another meaningful mindset. And today we will be unpacking the idea of embracing your triggers. The first thing I would love to say to you is that triggers, if you handle them right, if you really learn to embrace them, are a huge part of your healing journey. And for me, there are quite a few triggers that I've been dealing with over the past almost 3 years now. And at first, they really set off a lot of emotion, and sometimes that can kick off some sort of anger for you when somebody either says something wrong to you or does something wrong or doesn't do something. And we will be talking about a lot of different triggers today and what they can mean, what that can look like, and what it can look like when you handle them differently, when you learn to embrace them, what you can learn from them, what you can do with that, and how they can become part of your healing journey rather than triggering anger for you. So, the very first thing I want to remind you of, and I've talked about that a lot, is that anger is a cover up emotion. So if you get angry about something that triggers you, then the first thing I'd like you to do is to sit with it and look underneath. What is underneath that anger? There's usually hurt or sadness or loneliness or frustration. Anger is only ever a cover up emotion. So I've written down a little list of the usual triggers that people deal with a lot, that I have dealt with a lot, and I'd also love to share with you how I dealt with them and what I did with those triggers. Music. Music is one of the biggest triggers, and I believe that's quite international. Like, I can't imagine many people that would not react to music. Music can really change your state like that in an instant. You know, it can put you into absolute sadness, it can put you into ecstatic happiness. Music can change your state very instantly. So I would love for you to think about, how can I actually use that for me? I have quite a few happy lists on my Spotify account. I'm not advertising for Spotify. Whatever music you are using, make yourself a happy list and create it in a way that you have it handy as a go-to option when you have a sad day, a bad day, a trigger comes up for you. I use music as my number one go-to option. When I get triggered by something, I instantly turn to music because I know that it can change my state in an instant. So when a song comes up that triggers a sad memory for you, I want you to really think about, what does that mean in that very moment? Sometimes we are in a moment where it's absolutely okay to let go, to allow yourself to feel that emotion, to cry it all out. And we all know that a healthy cry can be so healing and so helpful for us when we allow ourselves to let it out. But we also know that there are situations where it is either not really appropriate, or you feel really uncomfortable about letting it out. And for me, that is the number one thing. Inappropriate is when you feel uncomfortable, okay? It's not about how you make other people feel in that very moment. Sometimes it is, but you know exactly what I mean. It is that, are you in a situation, are you surrounded by an environment where you feel safe, by people where it is okay for you to let it out? Then go for it, let it out, cry it all out, and allow yourself to feel that emotion and to sit with it. And then when you come out of it, take a deep breath. I really mean it. It is so important. We so often forget about our breathing. Take that deep breath and feel how liberating that is. When you cleanse that out, it is like a massive storm by Mother Nature, and then walk out straight after the rain stopped, and you feel that different energy. You feel that freshness, that everything has been washed away. That is so beautiful. I'd really love for you to embrace that and to feel that, feel the difference. Another trigger that is quite a common one and it comes up a lot is photos of your loved ones. You know, when all of a sudden you come across a photo, and in particular when you were not prepared, um, to then feel these emotions that come up. Embrace that. Embrace that, because often that emotion that comes up is just a very beautiful memory. And when the sadness kicks in, it is something that where my go to is always, okay, what is the one thing why it makes me sad? And don't use the general, or because he or she is not here anymore. I'm really inviting you to, as I always, do in the very first step in my healing journey from grief to relief, which, a quick reminder, is available for free in my group Loving Life After Loss. So you can just go to the guide section and go through that healing journey. The very first thing I ask people to do is separate what you have lost from who you have lost. It is really important for you to understand how you tick, how you work, how your mind works, your heart. What is the number one thing, or the whole list of things that you're missing? So when a photo comes up and it triggers memories within you, think about, what is it that I'm missing about that? And how can I create that in my circumstances that I have now, in my current life, right now, right here? And again, quick reminder, this is not about replacing a person. This is about filling the hole layer for layer. And we can only do that once we are aware of what it is that we are missing. How can you create that? If you need help with that, please do reach out. That's exactly what I'm here for. I help people go through these steps on a healing journey when they can't do that on their own. So, what do photos trigger for you? What comes up? Can you sit with that? Can you sit down? Can you maybe journal about that? Write a letter to that person? Or, like I also suggest in my healing journey, it's that role reversal. If you were in that loved one's shoes and you're looking down on you right now, what would you want to say to you from your loved one's perspective? I really urge you to go through the healing journey if you haven't done that yet, because there are so many really beautiful tools in there that really align with what I'm sharing here today. And again, there are also a lot of people that contact me that say, Marie, I'm getting all these signs. That might be feathers, that might be a song coming up, that might be um, letters or words that they see on number plates or anywhere else, really. And I have certainly received bucket loads of them after Rob passed, and I am a big believer in signs. Not everybody is, but if you are one of those people who believe in signs, then please embrace them. You know, they can, of course, again, trigger the absence of them, trigger sadness, but they can also trigger that beautiful feeling of, I am still with you, I'm still supported, I'm still here for you. Embrace that. Really allow yourself to feel that. Another trigger that I come across very, very often, and people share it with me all the time, is when they see others that have what you don't have anymore. And a very, very common example of that is when they see a couple holding hands, and it triggers this, this loneliness, this without you now, I'm all by myself. And I can understand that this trigger can be very, very intense. For me, I have to say, 99.9% of the time when I see a couple walking hand in hand, it triggers hope, love, happiness. It makes me so happy to see that, because Rob and I had such a special relationship that it makes me laugh and smile when I see others that are happy. It doesn't trigger jealousy in me. It doesn't trigger, oh, I don't have that with Rob anymore. It triggers hope and love for me. So really try to shift your perspective around that as well, and think about how beautiful it is that our world is filled with that. And whatever we focus on is what we see. So if we focus on all the beautiful things that surround us, we see more and more of that, and we start to attract that as well. So I'm a big believer in focusing on love. Wherever you can, wherever you go, focus on everything love related. When you see a couple walking hand in hand, when you see a child embracing her mom or his mom, and Also, again, it's coming back to the healing journey. One of the exercises that I suggest is to walk out and see how much love you can see in the world. And when you do that with an open heart, it adds so much love to you. It adds so much warmth to your life and so much happiness and beauty to the world. When we all focus on love, it really adds to the beauty in this world. Another thing that is a huge trigger are words. Literally, the wrong words spoken at the wrong time, in particular when your loss is very fresh. But that can even happen years later. Seriously, when somebody walks up to you and they use the wrong words at the wrong time, that can be a huge trigger. One trigger that often gets me, and it's a very subtle trigger. It's not one of those who, triggers anger or triggers me to burst or has really strong emotions. It's a very subtle trigger, is when people who are not in your situation come and tell you how important it is that you move forward and that you focus on the beauty in life and that you don't stay stuck in grief, and they're giving you all this hidden advice where they don't acknowledge the growth and the healing that you've been through. They give you the "this is how you should do it" approach, a once over. Let's just wipe over that and everything's fine. And by saying it in a way like they are claiming it, they are not acknowledging the work that you have done, the healing that you have done. And that is really important for all of us who have been through this healing, who are working through that growth. And it takes a lot of effort. We have paid a really high price for the growth that we are experiencing. And when somebody rocks up and doesn't acknowledge that, it is a real subtle trigger. They're saying the right words, and you're thinking, yeah, what they say is right. But what's lacking is the acknowledgement of your growth, of your healing, of your journey. It's almost like they are claiming to know what you've been through, which they don't. I would love to hear some feedback from you guys if you know what I'm talking about, because it's usually only those who've actually been through that, who've been and worked through these triggers, and who have been through that state of growth, that state of healing. And I'd really love to open that up as a really healthy discussion about that. If you know what I mean by that, that subtle trigger when people seem to claim they know what you've been through without actually having lived through it and without acknowledging your part in that, your growth. This is such an important part to allow that to stay with the person who has achieved that. It's almost like claiming their medal that they have received for something really outstanding and then show it off to the world rather than presenting you and letting it show off to the world. Does that make sense? I'd really love to hear if you understand what I'm talking about here. I'd like to share a very, very personal trigger with you. One of my very personal triggers, and that is obviously based on my own experience, is unreturned phone calls. And it's not about, I'm not 15 anymore. It's not about, oh, he or she is not calling me back and, why is this happening? Or do you not care about me? It's none of that whatsoever. What it triggers to me is the day when Rob had passed, and in my heart, I already felt it, yet I didn't have any proof. And I tried to call him over and over again. And this phone call stayed unreturned. And now when I try to call somebody and I know that they should be there and the phone is not picked up, it instantly triggers that, what happened to you? It instantly triggers that, I hope you didn't die. Quite frankly, that straight up, it really triggers that for me. And I understand that trigger now. So I have learned to deal with it. I have learned to work on my mindset. I have learned to shift that for me. Yet, a perfect example, the other night, a friend of mine was driving back from Coffs Harbour to Sydney, and I knew that was 7 hours drive, and he didn't leave till about 10. And he said, "Oh, do you mind? Maybe you can give me a call before you go to bed, just so I make sure that I'm still awake." And he was sort of joking about it, but I stayed up quite late, and I could feel that I was dragging it out to make it as late as possible because I wanted to know that he's safe. And all of a sudden, I felt this responsibility within me to keep him safe, to keep him awake, to keep him alive. And I'm like, my goodness, what's happening here? It's like one phone call, and I know he's an adult, and I know he knows that he should stop at the side of the road when he gets too tired. Yet all of a sudden, I was in this spin of, okay, I need to drag this out. I need to make sure. And I called at around 1 a.m., not knowing that he was on another phone call, so he didn't pick up the phone. And I was instantly triggered. I was instantly in this space of, I hope he didn't have an accident. I hope he didn't. I hope I didn't call too late. What if I should have called earlier? And I made this all about me and what I could have, should have, didn't. And I had to literally calm myself down and go through logical steps. I'm like, okay, what do I do now? Obviously, I don't want to go to bed because I want to know that he's safe. But phoning over and over again, what if he did park on the side of the road and he is taking a nap, and then I would wake him? So I went through this whole thing, and luckily he called me back, and he was really beautiful because it's a very close friend of mine, and I could talk to him about what it triggered in me and what came up. And he said, you know what, I was thinking while I was on the phone that you might be thinking that, and I tried to end that phone conversation as fast as I could to call you back and tell you I'm safe. And we talked like till 3 o'clock in the morning because I had this sense of responsibility for him being safe. And I was truly not responsible for that. But this is my very personal trigger. The reason why I'm sharing that with you is because I know that all of you have got very personal triggers. They are the common ones like music and photos and the wrong words spoken that we all have experienced and that we all go through. But what about your very personal triggers? This is part of your healing journey. How can you heal that? How can you heal your personal triggers? Because triggers do decrease our life quality. They decrease how we enjoy life. They really put a damper on, and sometimes it's a really, really big damper. Like, these things are huge to me, and I want to um, share a couple of things with you how you can embrace your triggers, okay? Because this is the number one thing. How do I deal with it? What do I actually do with those triggers, and how can I heal them for me? For me, one thing that is really important is every change is a change in meaning. So I want you to go back into those triggers and sit with them, embrace them, allow them to speak to you, and go like, okay, what is it that needs to be healed? Once you embrace your triggers, they become an opportunity for healing rather a decreasing your life quality, if that makes sense. So as soon as you give the trigger a different meaning, as in, okay, you are offering me an opportunity to heal. This is what I do with every trigger of mine now. Whenever I feel triggered by something, whether that sparks anger in me or fear or sadness or loneliness, I stop, if I can, in the moment, and I sit with it. I listen to it. I let it live. I allow it to speak to me. I'm like, what's the message for me? Where is the opportunity for healing for me right there? Every trigger offers you an opportunity for healing. So the next day, because I was way too tired that night, I thought about it a lot, but the next day I really sat with that trigger and I thought, where is the opportunity for healing for me in that situation? And the number one thing is always the to be seen. I want you to see it. I want you to understand it. I want you to allow the healing to come in. What can you do with your triggers? Write them down, in particular the ones that come over and over and over again. Allow yourself to sit with it and journal about it. What's the message behind it? What's in it for you? Why is this happening? How can you tell yourself and make yourself understand that you are safe? That is not your responsibility. Only you are your responsibility. And of course, if you have young children, there too. So allow that as an opportunity for healing. I want you to create that appropriate space for you where you can allow that to come in, to talk to you, to look at it, to acknowledge it. That is the number one thing that needs to happen for the healing to come in. For you to allow the healing, you need to allow it to be seen, to be acknowledged, and then to heal it. I also, I've written down, listen to the message. This is a really, really important point. Every trigger has got a message for you. And sometimes it's just a reminder of you are safe. And if you don't feel safe, it is a reminder to how can you create that feeling of being safe. I have talked about this many times, but I'm going to share it here again. One of the first things that I felt that I needed to heal when Rob passed was the feeling of I'm not safe. I had a lot of my safety, my feeling safe, my feeling supported, protected, attached to Rob. So when he passed, I needed to find that again. I needed to recreate that for myself. I needed to find a way for me to feel safe, because only if I feel safe can I also portray the feeling of being safe to my children. Because children feel it so clearly, subconsciously or consciously, they do feel it very strongly if you don't feel safe. So for me, it was like pushing my bed in the corner. For me, it was like checking that all the doors were locked at night time. For me, it was the reminder of where I live. We're in a common driveway. There are 6 houses around me. On every side of my house, there are at least 2 to 3 to 4 neighbors that can see that entrance door. And a beautiful message. Thank you so much. I love for all of you sending me the love when you're watching here. I really would invite you to participate and share what is coming up for you. And if there's something coming up for you that is triggered that you don't know how to heal, then please reach out to me. That's exactly what I do. That's what I'm here for, to help you heal, to help you heal your triggers, to help you shift your perspective around what is happening for you, not to you. And so back to that feeling of safety, I have not felt unsafe in my house for a really, really long time. And it is due to me acknowledging it, due to me creating what I really needed. And my whole life has become about that. Seeing, shifting perspective, and creating what you want. This is the common thread that you need to go through, that you are allowed to go through when it comes to triggers. So I invite you to really think about, what are your triggers? What are the common ones, like music, photos, words? What are your personal triggers? And how can you heal them? Number one thing is sit with them. Allow the message to come through. What is the message that this very trigger is giving you? It can be seen as a gift. It can be seen as an opportunity to heal. And this is exactly what happens when you embrace your triggers. An opportunity to heal for you. And to me, that is the most beautiful part about it. When you see that healing comes in layers. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen like that. Sometimes when you're lucky, there are situations that do that. I'm going to refer back to a meaningful mindset talk that I did on chain reaction of healing. I invite you to go and find that and watch that, because there was one moment in my life where I had that, a chain reaction of healing in an instant through one sentence that I read to my son. But coming back to this very talk here, when you allow yourself to see those triggers, to acknowledge them, to really allow them to speak to you, to bring the message, that is when they become an opportunity for you to heal. And that is what I wish for you, from my heart to yours. Be kind to yourself. This is Marie. Lots of love. Bye for now.